Rick and Morty just took a big fat break, and I loved it. This week's episode of Rick and Morty comes hot off the heels of Rick Prime's epic defeat and evil Morty's rise to the most powerful being in the multiverse. So we were all expecting something this week. I think I wasn't really 100% sure on what was going to happen, if we were just going to get straight back into it. A lot of people thought we were going to see Dr. Wong again in the next episode. Maybe the show would just take, some kind of paradigm shift. Maybe the show would just take some time to have some fun one-off adventures. Well, we sort of got that. Let me just preface this by saying, last night, I knew I had to make this video in the morning, and I had a dream that the Roundtable made a video saying this was the best episode of Season 7. And I remember in the dream thinking, I don't think I agree. I don't think people are gonna agree with that one. For the record, for all the people who I know are going to comment this episode was trash, and you have, of course you have your right to think that, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I do not think this is my favorite episode. That's definitely not. So, I think I can cover that base real quick. But anyway, I do love your comments. Please, I love you. Okay, Rick fending your Mort begins with Morty wanting to go on adventures, but Rick is not up for it. He's just kind of lounging around the garage, drunk, which, if he knew what happened with evil Morty last time he did that, maybe he wouldn't be so careless. But the point is Rick is not up for any adventure. And I like how they're sort of taking some time to show that Rick really needs some time to come back, to bounce back. His nemesis for like 30 years just got dealt with, and he needs some time to figure all this stuff out. He definitely will be going to therapy in the rest of the season. I think if that doesn't happen, that would be baffling to me. The general plot of this episode is Morty cashing in some of his adventures with the punch cards, because every 10th adventure, Morty gets one adventure where he's in charge. And Rick doesn't believe they're real, so he calls for an audit from an observer, a being who sees everything on a cosmic level. It's a pretty interesting setup for an episode, We go back to the Rick and Morty adventure punch cards every so often, and we haven't for a while, so it makes sense that Morty would have a lot stockpiled up. So timeline-wise, it does make sense. As for an interesting setup, it works. It's not as interesting to me as, say, like, the Jarek Trap or Final Desmithation, but it's still pretty good. The lead-in to the theme song was a bit janky.
Or in your case, before you cook the adventure books.
I don't do that!
We gonna find out!
Oh, I'm here for this.
But that is getting like super nitpicky, so it's alright. This is an episode that from the setup, you would think, there's gonna be some huge twist later on in this episode that's just gonna completely reframe how this whole thing went down. And nope. It is played completely straight, which really surprised me. The one thing you'll probably notice right off the bat is the overall structure of this episode. It's very different from most episodes of Rick and Morty. It's a clip show, not a clip show in the fact that they're just showing us stuff that already happened. It's obviously similar to episodes like Morty's Mind Blowers and even Interdimensional Cable to some extent, except the clips here are a lot shorter, and there are far more of them. It's kinda like, don't hate me for this, but it's kind of like TikTok the episode. Now that may sound bad, but honestly, this episode had a higher hit rate for me than the other anthology episodes. Maybe because the punchline is quicker, maybe because the clips are so much shorter, you don't even have time to get yourself acquainted with what's happening, and it's just the punchline. And it appeals to my lizard brain, which wants more, faster jokes. I mean, most of these are only a few lines long. I mean, for God's sakes, one of them is just Space Beth ripping ass, and I don't know, that's kind of funny. It happens so fast, you don't even have time to think on it. So the faster-paced comedy did really work for me, even though it's not something that I would love to see continue throughout the season's more and more episodes have this kind of joke structure. It's just kind of a nice treat, every once in a while, which is what these anthology episodes are supposed to be, so I suppose it works. We just came off of a lot of story-heavy, dramatic stuff, and now we just kind of get to have fun and watch some funny clips. That's totally justified in my eyes, and I think it works. What's funny is, I really kind of dug the new voice actors in this one. I think this is the best episode they've been in so far. They're getting better, and it's showing. Our new Rick's voice actor sounds way more drunk than Roiland ever did. Like, listen to this.
Okay, show me late night western. Morty, take me, wanna go western bacon. Morty, western bacon now.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
So for a little context, I'm in college, and that sounds way more like drunk talk to me than Roiland's Rick ever felt like. He's like, Morty, more bacon, Morty, more bacon, Morty. Like, that is exactly how my old roommates would talk to me when they were shit-faced. So also, continuing the streak of making my new references, we get Morty turning into a sailboat, which is a callback to the episode... I don't remember. These episode titles, seriously, they're so goofy, I can't remember them, I'm sorry. It's the Microverse Battery one, the Keep Summer Safe one, that one, where Rick gave Morty implants that he could turn into a car, and now he turns into a boat, and some bullies take him sailing, but in the middle of the ocean, he transforms back. And now they're actually becoming friends, getting stranded on this island. One of them freaking dies, and he's punching Morty like, turn back into a sailboat, and he can't. I don't know, that's just funny to me. But it is a reference to that episode, and that's cool. And there's also a picture of Snowball in the bathroom. Snowball? Snuffles. Yeah, which we haven't seen in a long time. The last time we saw him, or a mention of him, was a misdirect, so kinda nice for them to just acknowledge his existence in this photo. And you know what, come to think of it, have we even seen this bathroom in the show? It's always so jarring when you see a place like this that you've never really seen before in the entire series. This deep in, I don't know if we've seen this room. So do I like this episode? Yes. The title of this video would suggest I do like it, but it's really more complicated than that. You know, not every video can be the Rick and Morty just fixed itself, or Rick and Morty just changed everything, because you can't really fit like a title like that into an episode like this, because it's all just for fun. And there's zero story stuff going on here. This is the farthest away from story that you can possibly get. I think the gags are funnier in general, but the story thread tying them all together was overall a bit weaker. I haven't really mentioned the story of this episode because it's kind of weak, I'll admit. The observers are kind of harassing Rick and Morty, and then they kill one by accident, and then they take him to a trial, and then they escape the trial. That's it. There's really no character growth, there's no, like... Trying to retrofit Dan Harmon's story circle into this episode is such a difficult task. I thought about trying to do that for this video, but it just seems impossible. But maybe that's okay. You know, the story trade episode did make it clear that we don't have to stick to that thing the whole time. But I did like the gags, and I think that's what's important. Here's some of my absolute favorites. Rick's placing bets to see what they can get their Mortys to do for them, Rick giving Morty different guns, Morty bringing his churro to life, and of course, the ultimate slam dunk. It had me on the floor.
I did it, Morty! I killed the versions of us that were in Space Jam! Help me with the bodies!
Wow! How'd you do it, Rick?
It was easy, Morty. They welcomed death. They wanted out, Morty!
Bro, that shit is just so funny. I don't know. I didn't even see Space Jam 2, but I saw the cameo, and yeah, that was... I'm sure they hate themselves for that one now. So overall, this episode was just the Rick and Morty crew taking a break from the high-concept sci-fi, and honestly, I think it's warranted. I gotta laugh at myself. You know, I've been following the channel New Rockstars, very, very popular channel for this kind of stuff, and I saw that they did a breakdown of this episode, and I haven't watched it yet, but what is there to break down? It's just gags. I'll give it a watch. Weeks like this, Rick and Morty's just kinda having fun, and for what it's worth, I had fun. So those were my thoughts on this new episode, nothing to really analyze or break down, so I kinda just wanted to share some of my thoughts and the funniest gags that I thought were the best. So let me ask you this. Instead of asking for your predictions for the rest of the season, I'm going to ask you what was your favorite gag from this episode. There's a lot of them, so you got plenty to choose from, but I think they're all pretty funny. So anyway, thank you all so much for that support on the last Rick and Morty video. It has almost 100,000 views, which for a channel like me that only has like 1,000 and change subscribers, that is massive for me. So I so appreciate all of your support. I've read so many awesome comments, and I'm going to continue to try and make my videos better and better to justify them getting that many views. Because really I have no explanation. I don't know. I guess YouTube was just extra nice to me this week. So thank you everybody so much for watching. My name is Candles, and I'll see you next time.